Okay, so let me continue kind of with poetry, but say some things that actually could extend to any of the literature that we're talking about in this unit or any of the others, and connect it up to one of the discussions that we've had. And then in later videos, I'll circle back to Eliot and Yeats and the prose too. So there was the discussion question where I asked you to consider that idea from the new criticism that you have to know anything about the poem in order to understand it. And they use the poem as like the key exemplar of literature. It could be applied to any work, whether it's fiction or poetry or drama, or for us, film, on, podcasts, whatever. But they always thought of it as the poem. Meant more, but that you don't have to know anything about the poem other than just having the poem in front of you. I can pick up a copy of the Norton Anthology English Literature Volume 2. I can flip it open to, what did I land on? Prometheus Unbound by Shelley, and I could read it, and it should mean something. And whatever it means to me without knowing anything about it should be the central, key, most important meaning. Meaning is rooted in the work of art itself. All right. So I asked you to think about that and then to consider that you were reading some poems that were heavy laden with references. And what happens when you don't get the references? Can the poem still mean something? And if it doesn't, does that mean the poem doesn't have value? I mean, it's still a historical artifact, right? I mean, we're taking a course, you're taking a course, I'm teaching a course in the history of British Lit. And so we're looking at things that are, yes, literary works, but they're literary works that have historical value. We read The Wasteland because things from the Romantic and Victorian era and beyond led up to it, and it influenced things that came after it. We're looking at it as a point, as an element, as an artifact of literary history. But there's also the question of literary value, right? Is it any damn good? And can we judge a work of art as being good or not based solely on that work of art in and of itself? So here's the thing. I think it's kind of easier to talk about this than it used to be for me in classes a couple of decades ago or even a decade ago, because we are a heavily referential pop culture, right? There's a moment in the first Avengers movie where Captain America, who everyone thought died at the end or at the end of the first movie during World War II, was actually frozen. And I rolled my eyes at the comic book plot while I'm sitting in front of the comic book poster. I get it. But nevertheless, he's frozen. The body doesn't work like that. And he's revived, and he's suddenly a man out of time, right? He's been gone for 70 odd years, and the world has changed dramatically. And so he carries around a list of things that Nick Fury has said he needs to know about in order to get caught up. Like, they may have the iPod, it's the iPod or the iPhone, for instance. And Sam Wilson at the beginning of Captain America: The Winter Soldier tells him to listen to the Marvin Gaye soundtrack to the movie Trouble Man, right? Things to catch up. So there's a moment in the Avengers where this man out of time, who's been gone for 70 plus years, someone says something and he says, I understood that reference. And that's now a meme slash GIF that people use here, there, and yon. I understood that reference. Well, what happens when you don't understand that reference, right? What happens when your mom or dad or your beloved says, hey, let's watch Avengers Endgame? And you say, okay, did you see Infinity War? And they say, no, I didn't see it. I'm not that into comic book movies, but I know you want to see Endgame, so let's watch it. And you say, whoa. Endgame is a sequel. You got to watch Infinity War first. And they say, okay, it's another 2.5 hours, but sure, we're going to spend the time together. 5 hours, whatever, we'll watch both of them. You go, hold on, hold on, hold on. You can't just watch Infinity War. You have to watch, and then you start listing all the movies that came before it that funnel into it, right? Like that moment in Endgame, spoilers, where Captain America stands alone against Thanos, and he's fighting bravely, but we know he's going to die. And then he hears from somewhere behind him, on your left. And the audience in the theater goes, ah! Because it's Sam Wilson's voice. And that's what Captain America said to Sam when they first meet in The Winter Soldier, when Captain America, being a super soldier, is just lapping him over and over and over again. And he keeps saying, on your left, on your left. Sam gets pissed off because Captain America is going faster than he is and starts to chase him and everything. It's a callback to that, right? Well, okay, you watch Endgame, you hear him say on your left, and then Sam appears and all the other heroes appear, and you go, yeah! And you're happy because now they're all going to fight Thanos, and it's going to be cool. But your nerdy friend, Professor Johnson, besides you says, that in fact is a reference to Captain America, the Winter Soldier, when... But it gets bigger than that, all right? Right now, Disney Plus has a TV show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it's 6 episodes of the Falcon and Bucky running around punching things and solving a crucial mystery. I enjoy it. After every episode, several different YouTubers post videos, and they're not just reviews of the episode. They say things like, Screen Crushes is like 73 Easter eggs and references you missed in this week's episode of. And there are really 73 of them. In this moment, what you'll notice is that Captain America's shield reflects light off of it in a way that it did exactly in the first film during the third scene. I mean, it's that detailed. And they're kind of cool to know. But you have to ask yourself, do you have to know them? So that was that discussion question. Do you have to get the references in order to fully appreciate the poem? And lest you think that I'm grasping at straws, let me tell you that after publishing The Wasteland, T.S. Eliot published it again later with annotations. He went through and annotated all of his references, like that Latin and Greek quote at the beginning, but throughout the whole poem, because he didn't expect that even his intended audience of well-educated British and American poetry readers trained in ancient Greek, Latin, and European classics would pick up on everything. Hold on to that thought.